One of the most quintessential pieces of equipment for investigating a potential UFO landing site is a Geiger counter. This little tool calculates the level of atomic particles in the air compared to the ambient level of radiation that exists all around us on an ordinary day. Throughout the pages of Project Blue Book, you will find dozens of cases where Geiger counters have tested positive for increased levels of radiation in areas where UFOs have supposedly landed. In fact, there is even a featured article currently on the Central Intelligence Agency's website titled How to Investigate a Flying Saucer, which lists the Geiger counter as the primary tool for investigating the physical evidence of a flying saucer landing. One of the most significant cases of a landed flying saucer happened in Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk, England, during the month of December in 1980. Rendlesham Forest is right next to the location of the now defunct Royal Air Force Base in Woodbridge, which was in operation at the time of the incident. The incident started when patrolmen from RAF Woodbridge noticed several strange lights descending into Rendlesham Forest. The men were concerned that a plane had made an emergency landing in the vicinity, and Air Force personnel were sent to investigate. During their search, the members of the Royal Air Force, led by Colonel Charles I. Halt, discovered a triangle-shaped craft in the forest that was resting atop a tripod-like structure that had been deployed from the craft. The men moved in to investigate what was happening, but every time they approached within 150 meters of the craft, it would lift up and move away at a high speed. Colonel Halt later tested one of these triangle-shaped depressions for radiation. The Geiger counter readings attained by Colonel Halt and his men were 10 times the ambient levels that would be found naturally in an average location. Looking to more recent events, Fresno, California has also been a hotbed for flying saucers and other strange phenomena over the past decade. Many ufologists employ Geiger counters in this region, including noted UFO investigator Jeffrey Gonzalez. Elevated radiation levels are also frequently found at the sites of crop circles. But UFOs have historically interacted with radiation in other ways as well. Not only are there abnormally high radiation readings at the landing sites, but UFO sightings have been reported at several nuclear meltdown locations, the most famous and bizarre of which is the Chernobyl meltdown. The event occurred in April of 1986 during an experimental safety test. One of the plant's 4 nuclear reactors caught fire and threatened to start a massive nuclear chain reaction. Tons of radioactive particles leaked into the air, and as you can see in this image, they spread across the entirety of Europe. Firemen were fighting a losing battle with the intense heat from the meltdown. That was, until something strange happened. The following is a translation of the words spoken by Mikhail Varitsky, one of the workers from the Chernobyl plant. I and other people from my team went to the site of the blast at night. We saw a ball of fire, and it was slowly flying in the sky. I think the ball was 6 or 8 meters in diameter. Then, we saw 2 rays of crimson light stretching towards the 4th reactor. The object was some 300 meters from the unit. The event lasted for about 3 minutes. The lights of the object went out, and it flew away in the northwestern direction. This claim was backed up by others, in particular the Aetherist group, who stated that 3 hours into the disaster, a team of nuclear technicians measured the radiation at 3,000 milliroentgens per hour. Then they looked up. In the sky above was a fiery ball the color of brass. They also estimated its diameter to be roughly 7 meters and its distance from the burning reactor as roughly 300 meters. Suddenly, said one, 2 bright rays of crimson color extended from the ball to the reactor. The rays abruptly faded, and the ball slowly floated away in a northwesterly direction toward modern-day Belarus. Then, we again looked at our radiation monitor. It displayed only 800 milliroentgens per hour. Had this UFO intervention not occurred, The radiation leaked from the Chernobyl disaster would have increased at least fourfold, if not more. And this number is just based on some basic math done with the information from the previous statement. But in all likelihood, the damage probably would have been even greater. The fourth reactor was destroyed by hot steam, but had the reaction been allowed to continue, in all likelihood it probably would have been much worse. The fourth reactor stored nearly 200 tons of enriched uranium, also known as uranium dioxide. Had all of that uranium destabilized during the Chernobyl disaster, it is highly likely that the vast majority of Europe would be uninhabitable to this day. 3 years later, on September 16, 1989, the fourth power generating unit emitted radiation into the atmosphere. Several hours later, a doctor saw an object in the sky above the Chernobyl plant. Dr. Gospina described it as amber-like. She said she could see the top and the bottom of it as well. In October of 1990, a reporter from the newspaper The Echo of Chernobyl, V. Navrin, was photographing the machine shop of the Chernobyl plant, stating, "I photographed the top of it, including a part of the hole above. I remember everything very well. I did not see any UFO. However, when I developed the film, I clearly saw an object that was hovering above the hole in the roof. The object looked like the one Dr. Gospina saw." Could it be possible that an invisible UFO was preventing additional radiation from leaking from the plant? And this years after the initial incident. Similar sightings and reports have happened with the Fukushima disaster. In the aftermath of the event, there was a spike in reported UFO sightings in the region. The situation garnered so much attention that the Japanese government saw fit to make a statement denying the presence of UFOs. This all begs the question: have extraterrestrials mastered the power of atomic energy well beyond our understanding? I would posit yes. In my video that covered the Atlantean root race, I discuss how multiple sources of Atlantean lore document that certain peoples of Atlantis were in contact with extraterrestrials, and learned from them the skills to build and fly atomic aircraft. I think given this knowledge, it is safe to assume that some sort of atomic reaction powers all of those flying saucers that have been documented over the past century and a half. The only question is, how is that possible? How are the extraterrestrial pilots of these crafts able to withstand the powerful radiant energies that their ships emit?